Will Smith's Mike Lowrey confronts his past, while Martin Lawrence's Marcus Burnett decides on his future, and together they put an end to an extensive killing spree that foreshadows a future sequel in Bad Boys 4. Bad Boys for Life, the third movie in the franchise, sees the return of the Bad Boys after a 17-year absence.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when we come for you? Snick.
While the majority of reviews suggest that the third film will deliver exactly what fans are looking for in terms of its action-comedy balance, it also has a few twists and turns along the way, making it likely that Bad Boys for Life won't mark the end of the road for this franchise. There was a time when Bad Boys 4 and Bad Boys 3 were being discussed together, and even though they didn't film at the same time, as had been originally intended, it does seem that the third film is laying the groundwork for at least one additional installment. Let's take a quick recap of Bad Boys for Life to see where it leaves our major characters for whatever may come next. Bad Boys for Life starts with Marcus's daughter having a baby boy with her longtime boyfriend Reggie.
You a pop-up.
Marcus takes this opportunity to reflect on his life, particularly his violent life, and decides to retire. In the meantime, an assassin shoots and nearly kills Mike in retaliation for a case Mike worked on decades earlier that led to the shooter's mother, Isabel Aretas, being imprisoned. Everyone had no idea there was a deeper connection between Isabel, Mike, and the shooter, Armando Armas. With the assistance of Miami's former AMO members, Mike and Marcus travel to Mexico City in the Bad Boys for Life finale to exact revenge on Isabel and Armando. When Marcus is seized and AMO's surveillance equipment is damaged and destroyed completely, AMO infiltrates the building and a shootout breaks out between Mike, Marcus, AMO, Isabel, and Armando's goon. Mike initially meets Isabel inside Hidalgo Palace by using himself as bait. When Marcus shoots the helicopter's pilot, Isabel and Armando attempt to escape by getting on board, but the helicopter crashes into the building and explodes on the first floor. At its core, Bad Boys for Life was a story about coming to terms with the past. There was a lot of nostalgia involved, but Mike and Marcus were both aware that they weren't the same people they once were. They have more years behind them than in front of them, as Marcus said, but they adapted to the new rules rather than hanging it all up and retiring, as Marcus briefly attempted to do. In other words, out with the old, in with the new could be summed up as the Bad Boys for Life ending. Also, Rita is the new police captain and AMO is growing, both of which Mike and Marcus fully support. First things first, although a release date for Bad Boys 4 has not yet been set, it's expected that it won't be as long of a wait as it was between Bad Boys 2 and Bad Boys for Life. It makes sense that Sony would want to act quickly, and it's important to remember that the Bad Boys 4 was initially reported to coming 2 years after the third installment in those initial reports announcing the project in 2015. Before we go any further, we wanted to let you know that it's time for you to smash that like button if you haven't done it already. The movies were originally scheduled to release in 2017 and 2019, so it's clear that Sony's plans have changed slightly since then. However, given the ridiculous box office performance of Bad Boys for Life, we can't imagine why the studio wouldn't want to start production on Bad Boys 4 as soon as possible. Despite setbacks, Bad Boys for Life was a success. Its final box office take of $426 million exceeded that of its predecessors and brought the franchise's overall earnings to $840 million. It makes sense that Bad Boys 4 could have been released by 2023 given the production schedule for Bad Boys for Life. Because development has been slow, the release of the next installment in the Bad Boys franchise will be delayed. If Bad Boys 4 ever materializes, getting the story started shouldn't be too challenging because it already has a built-in setup. Apparently, Smith and Lawrence will return for more in Bad Boys 4 because they both recognize a good thing when they see one. Of course, Bad Boys for Life was marketed as a final fling for their characters, but the film's massive box office forced Sony to change their minds and go back for more. The exciting sequel is set up in the Bad Boys for Life credit scene where Smith's Mike Lowrey and Jacob Scipio's Armando, whom Mike didn't even know about until the events of the movie, work together in exchange for Armando serving out some of his prison sentences. Mike's partner Marcus Burnett is also expected to return in Bad Boys 4, as are the young members of the recently introduced AMO team, Vanessa Hudgens, Charles Melton, and Alexander Ludwig. In Bad Boys for Life, the latter three characters added a fun twist to the Mike-Marcus dynamic, and their roles should only continue to evolve as the series progresses. Captain Howard, who was assassinated during Armando's warpath, will sadly not return for Bad Boys 4. Rita, the leader of AMO, and Mike's potential love interest would take over his mantle. It would be great to see Rita take the initiative and see where that would lead. But it would also change the dynamic for Mike. He might find himself in a romantic arc with his new boss Rita rather than fighting with the Chief. Given the signature comedy of Bad Boys, this would be an entertaining interaction to watch. One of the major conflicts in Bad Boys for Life isn't between Mike and Marcus and the bad guys, but between Mike and Marcus themselves. Mike and Marcus have been partners for decades at this point because the third movie takes place after the same time-lapse that the fans experienced. Mike finds it difficult to accept that the days of their ride-or-die mission are history, while Marcus is at ease with their retirement. In the end, they reach a bittersweet compromise in which Mike accepts that there's more to life than police work and Marcus stays by his partner just a little longer.
Oh, come on, man. You can get that buffed out. No, you can get that buffed out.
Given that Will Smith is 54 and Martin Lawrence is 57, their characters must be around the same age, indicating that retirement talk will soon start. Marcus does retire in the movie, which causes a rift in the friendship between the two partners. When Marcus is drawn back into the case and the captain they both loved is killed, it forces Marcus to return and team up with Mike one last time, but it appears that this may not be the case after all. While Mike says he's fine with Marcus retiring in the final scene, Marcus is now the one to say Bad Boys for Life, suggesting that he's changed his mind and the two will remain together. Bad Boys for Life came to a sudden end when Mike, a cowboy cop, fails to shoot the gunman at the center of the conspiracy. Of course, the fact that Armando Armas is his son helps, but Mike isn't a particularly forgiving man. He had earlier said he would shoot Armando without a second thought, but by the end, he had changed his mind. As the film ends with Armando showing interest in what Mike has to offer, it appears that Mike's decision to assist Armando in finding redemption was the right one. It's unclear what that opportunity would entail at this time, but it makes sense that Armando would collaborate with Miami PD on an investigation. As the final surviving member of the Aritas cartel, Armando could be used to look into other cartels operating nearby. In Bad Boys 4, we might delve even deeper into this unusual father-son relationship and see an unlikely anti-hero achieve redemption the tough way. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence introduced the world to a buddy cop duo that nobody knew they wanted until they saw it in action in the movie Bad Boys. It's always entertaining to watch these two portray drastically different characters that have a close friendship, and more of it would be appreciated. And because of that, you need to smash that subscribe button and notification bell so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. Mike and Marcus's friendship will never die no matter how much time passes. The Bad Boys film's core is driven by their completely opposite ideologies and never-ending debates. See you in the next video.